Double Jellyfish, it's Tracy, and today I want to talk about Modern Masters 2K17, which is coming out. When does this set release? The 17th. Does that sound right? I feel like that sounds right. And I actually did a video last week where I talked about like the value of Modern Masters, and I kind of played devil's advocate. I kind of talked about a couple of perspectives, and that's what I'm kind of going to do in this video, because I don't know, that's just like how I'm kind of doing these. I have a couple of different perspectives on it, and yeah, I want to talk about this set now that everything has been spoiled. Because when I filmed that video, and like not when I posted it, because I posted the like with the way that my YouTube schedule works, sometimes I film videos, but then I film like the way they go up like 2 weeks later. Sometimes I do that because of just the way that my schedule like works out when I decide to upload things. So like this video, now that I'm filming this, everything has been spoiled, but when I filmed the value of Modern Masters, that video, no cards were spoiled. I think like, yeah, no, I don't think any cards were spoiled at the time that I filmed that. So, I want to talk about the set because there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's been like a lot of stuff going on with the Modern Masters stuff as, you know, in general. Like a lot of people are very unhappy because Modern is being neglected. Kind of one of the reasons why I'm glad I kind of snuck out the back door and I'm like not involved in that anymore. But a lot of people are very pleased by this set, and I remember as cards started to get spoiled, like, you know, you saw a couple classic things, and I was like, you know, you got like your Lily, your Snapcaster Mage, and I was just like, is this real right now? Like, the mythics in this are just nuts. You know, a lot of times you'll have kind of like that one value card, Tarmogoyf, which has been very, very famous for being in Modern Masters. In my opinion, it's going to be, I think, in Modern Masters for till the end of time, really. I just think it's one of those cards that it's always going to be in there. It's always going to be really expensive. Why? Why is that the card that's like one of the most expensive cards in the format? I really couldn't tell you. Tarmogoyf's really not that good of a card. Sometimes it just happens to be like a 7/8 for 2 mana, which is good. And then other times it's just like a 2/3. Yeah, it's really not that great, but it's used in a lot of modern builds, you know, Jund especially, when Jund is like really popular in the format right now. That's up there. And then you also have, you know, Abzan uses that card. Just like, you know, it's a card that's going to be used and a lot of people run it. It's just not that very good of a card, but it is that random card that for some reason it's like $100, and I just don't even know why that card is more than Snapcaster Mage. I don't understand. So yeah, Tarmogoyf's in there, which I think is one of the draws, I think, of Modern Masters, because that card is just ridiculously expensive. It gets a lot of people, because if you say, let me look up the price of Tarmogoyf right now, just keeping in mind, I use TCG Player for pricing. I love TCG, I order my cards through TCG, I've never really had any issues with them. I personally really like the website. I like that you can go through from tapped out to TCG, which makes things very easy. I like it. It's great. I order from different sellers. They have a lot of times the stuff that I'm looking for. Like if I'm looking for like a promo card, they have it. TCG is great. What am I looking up? Was I looking up the price of Tarmogoyf? I think I was. Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf. Such a weird name. Right now, currently, I'm looking at the price. Lightly played from past times, Modern Masters 2K15 version is $94.99. We'll see where that price goes from there. And that's another really major thing. A lot of people, when they're looking at price, when they're looking to just build a deck, they're like, okay, what are the prices going to look like in this set? And can I afford those cards? And so when cards get reprinted, people generally get really happy. Some people who were like, hey, I bought that card when it was like $90 and now it's $60, get really mad. I have to say, as someone who does own some expensive cards, like, let's just take Snapcaster Mage, for example. I traded for Snapcaster Mages. I got Snapcaster Mages when they were $60. Let me check the price of that right now, and what is that going on for pre-order? Snapcaster Mage. So I traded for Snapcaster Mages when they were $60, right? Right now, the Innistrad ones are $34.44. Am I salty because I bought Snapcaster Mages and they were this much and now they're this much? No, I'm not salty about it because that's just how it goes. It's kind of frustrating when like one day you trade for a card and the next day it goes down. Like, remember Jace Vryn's Prodigy, how like one day that was like $90 and then like it slowly trickled off, then it was like 60, now it's like 30. Interesting how that went in increments of 3. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the new art for Snapcaster Mage 2? I feel like I'm very precious towards Innistrad Snapcaster Mage just because it's what I have, and the Pro Tour one looks like a soccer player. You will never convince me otherwise. It is a soccer player, let's just say that. I'm not saying it's bad, I just think it looks like a soccer player and it makes me laugh. So, anyways, we're not talking about art. That's not the purpose of this video. So, yeah, I know, I don't get upset about things like that. I know some people do, and maybe it depends on the value of a card, maybe it depends on how much it drops. Am I over here, like, because I look at a card like that, like Snapcaster Mage, and I'm like, well, I got my use out of that. I played in Grixis Control. When I started to build Blue-Eye Control, I used it. Yeah, Snapcaster is also a card that I will say I'll, like, never get rid of. Like, there are other modern pieces that I've gotten rid of since, but I won't break myself to get rid of my playset of Snapcasters. It's not happening. It's not happening. So, let's see, Snapcaster Mage, since I guess we're talking about that, I'm really excited that it's seeing a reprint. I think it needs it. I know not a lot of people, I feel like, in the format are really playing any sort of control deck, but I hope because Snapcaster is being reprinted that a lot of people, you know, it's a very versatile card. It's kind of one of those cards that it's not just used in one deck, which I think is really interesting with how these cards, sorry, my parents are talking, they're very loud. We're very Italian in our house, we talk really loud. And people look at why are these cards being reprinted. So let's take Tarmogoyf for example. I said how Tarmogoyf is used in Jund, but it's also used in Abzan. Now, is Abzan a super popular deck? No, but there's some people who still are like, yeah, Siege Rhino's a really good card, and I want to still play with Siege Rhino. It's also played in not Kiki Chord. What is the name of that deck that it's Coco? It's like the Coco deck, it's like that value deck. Is that run in the Coco deck too? I don't know, and I'm blanking on what that card is. Coco Abzan? I don't know if that's what it's called, but anyways, it's used in a couple of different builds, so it's a really good card to be reprinted. Card like Snapcaster Mage, if you're looking at like any sort of blue deck in Modern, you need to be running Snapcaster Mage, so I'm really glad this is being reprinted. It allows more people to get their hands on it, which is why I'm always a fan of reprints. Like I said, I'm not someone to get salty over things. I lost money on that. Whatever, it is what it is. Linvala, I do think that she really desperately needed a reprint. I mean, before this, I think she must have been like upwards of 50, so I'm really glad that she's seeing a reprint now. She definitely needed it. A lot of people in that, I've seen Abzan sideboards run this. I've seen the Coco deck that I'm so blanking of that I can't think of what that is. It's the thing that runs like Wall of Roots and it's the infinite combo and I just can't think of what those pieces are. But that deck, you guys know what I'm talking about. So Linvala definitely needed a reprint. Happy to see that. She'll drop in price. That's great. Liliana the Veil, I mean really, people were speculating her reprint in various things. I'm 100% not surprised to see her. I knew she was going to be in the set. Like, it was one of those things that a lot of people speculated last Modern Masters, and I think we got Vess in last Modern Masters. Am I making that up? But I feel like we did. I don't remember what I was talking about. Okay, thought I was gonna sneeze, didn't. Okay, great. So other cards that I think are you know, exciting to be reprinted. Creative Behemoth. Something I have seen in... What deck have I seen this in? I feel like I've seen this in deck in Modern in the past, I don't remember which, but I'm glad it's reprinted because I do know a lot of people run this card in EDH. What I think is really awesome about these sets, this and Eternal Masters, is that, like I said, I'm not playing in any sort of competitive format. I don't play Vintage, I don't play Legacy, anything like that, but I still like Eternal Masters and things like that because there's a lot of good EDH cards in there, so this card is good, you know, good for all those EDH people who like that card. Then we have Cyclonic Rift, and it's actually really funny that this card, I'm seeing this because I had a dream last night that Paul and I were playing EDH, and he played Cyclonic Rift, and in this dream, it said all cards, not just non-lands, so I returned all my lands to my hand, and it was miserable, and I ended up losing hardcore. It was awful. So that's, like, really funny that Cyclonic Rift is in there. Anyways, Damnation. Yeah, people very excited to see this card. Card desperately needed a reprint. I mean, really, card was just like ridiculously like $40, and you know, it was one of those strange cards that it's like that one of in the sideboard that you wanted. Things like Grixis Control wanted this card in their sideboard. Card that a lot of people said I needed, and I remember running other things in place of it, like Anger. Did I play Anger of the Gods? I feel like I played Anger of the Gods, which is still good, but I was playing Damnation, and black just really needed this card, honestly. Blood Moon, another card that really needed it. Really happy this card was in there because it's a really good sideboard card, and who knows, I mean, maybe this card will be in here and then it will be banned later on, because I know a lot of people have been talking about this card potentially being banned. I don't know how I feel about Blood Moon being banned. I mean, I've had it played against me. I've had it played against me like when Bloom was a thing and that everyone was like, this is the card to stop Bloom, and it was a very, very good card against that deck. You know, a lot of people talk about, I think I'm surprised to see this card being reprinted, and not because it's like, oh wow, like no one plays that card, because a lot of people do play this card, and a lot of people have been talking about certain decks that play this card in the sideboard, you know, being, getting out of hand. Like, a lot of people think that Affinity is like crazy, and like, why would you help Affinity more? And I personally think, and I mean, I've done a whole video talking about mid-range decks and how I really think if you're playing a deck in Modern, it probably should just be a mid-range deck. Like, not saying that Affinity isn't great, like, Affinity is an awesome deck, but, you know, it relies too heavily on winning in the early game, and its late game is just miserable. If you don't win by, like, turn 5, you're probably just dead. So yeah, Blood Moon is really good. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, I just think that it's mostly used in that sort of thing. Yeah. Okay, what else do I want to talk about that I'm excited about seeing? I mean, there's always going to be cards that you're like, no one plays that card like at all. Why is this card in here? We have Venser, and I'm excited that Venser is being reprinted because Venser is like really good. He's really fantastic, really good EDH card. I actually just put him in Tassiger because I needed something else, and I just happened to have Venser, and I was like, alright. Really, really good. Again, just kind of like a card that's like randomly $20 or $25, and seeing a reprint's gonna drop that price. Goblin Guide 2, I know a lot of people really into that. I like that they're giving Burn a little bit of love, because I do think that it's a pretty neglected deck. I think needs some more attention, needs some more love, so hopefully, again, same thing with Snapcaster Mage, and this is all just me speculating. I mean, really, like, we don't know what's going to happen with the format at all, with the change of the set and with things being more easily accessible, so we'll just kind of see. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Really into that, Intangible Virtue, because let me tell you, Black-White tokens, the was nuts. Okay, Lingering Souls. Not an expensive card, but I'm happy to see it being reprinted just because this is used, like I said, it's used in Abzan builds. If you have Black-White tokens, this is a card that you're going to see in there. Or other tokens, other token builds as well. Excited for that. Molten Rain, again, same thing. We've got a really nice sideboard card for Burn. Inquisition of Kozilek. I am very excited that they are reprinting this card again. I know it was just reprinted in, I'm blanking on what set it was, but it was printed recently. Excited to see it again, though. Again, more reprints, lower the price. Path to Exile. Yes, yes, yes. Needs to drop from that $10 price range. Very excited to see that there. I looked at Explore and then I had to turn my head away. It's like, LOL, this deck for, this card for Bloom that we know you're totally playing, right? You're not funny, wizards. I'm salty. Very salty. Spell Pierce. How expensive is this card? I need to look this up. Card? Wait, Spell Pierce one with the converted mana cost 2. Non-creature spell. This is, yeah, card's really good. It's actually $1, so it's a decent common to get. Card's really good. Again, Seal of Primordial. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, I think that the rares and mythics are just really good. I think that the commons and uncommons could personally, I think, be a little bit better. Like, you have your money card, which really, I think the most expensive thing out of this lot in commons and uncommons is just Path to Exile, because that card's just like $10. So you have that, and then you've got like Inquisition, which I think is like $3 right now. Lingering Soul is only like 50 cents. So you don't have that much value, I think, in your commons and uncommons, which is, I think, I just think it's a bit of a bummer, because I think, you know, you always want like those couple of cards that are gonna get your commons and uncommons over the edge, because when you have a card like Path printed at uncommon level, that's like awesome, because you're like, okay, well, say I open up this pack and there's like $1 rare in there, and then the foil's like a common or uncommon, but then you're like, okay, sweet, but I opened up this Path and the price drops, say it's like $7, like you're like, okay, sweet, that's like a little bit more reasonable. Okay, then some multicolored stuff. Voice of Resurgence, people are super stoked about this. I am too. Definitely needed a reprint. Happy about that. Sphinx's Rev, yes, some support for our blue-white control people out there. I like it. I'm very excited about that. I like how they threw an Evil Twin as well, like, hey, we know you can't have Splinter Twin, but here's Evil Twin. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, Wizards. But it's okay, we can try, we can pretend. Wall of Denial, I just, oh man, I can't. Let me tell you something. Jeffrey from Simon Lore tweeted about this, and I was like, hey, listen. I was like, he was like, I'm very excited about this card, and I was like, it's funny because this card is awesome. Wall of Denial, played in blue-white control, it's nuts. It is amazing. It just says no to your opponent. They just can't do anything. Card is really great. Did it need to be reprinted? I mean, no, probably not, but it's a card. It's a card. Coiling Oracle, I mean, absolutely we need this. I will say also too, with these cards that are like good, these commons and uncommons that are good, more likely for things to come out in foil. So a card like Coiling Oracle, which friend Craig Rocco runs that card in Kiki Cord, check it out, super sweet tech. Card is amazing. Super excited to see something like that because you have the higher likelihood of opening it up foil. So that's great. Let's see. Grafdigger's Cage, great sideboard card. Really, really into that. I think a lot of people are like, oh, we care about main board cards, but not so much about sideboard cards. But sideboard cards can get really expensive. And I don't know about you, but when I kind of built the main deck, my sideboard, I was like, I don't want to dump a lot of money into my sideboard, especially because sideboard changes. But having a card like Grafdigger's Cage in this set is really important because ups the likelihood of people opening it. Really good sideboard card to have in a lot of different builds depending on where you're going. So, okay, Cavern of Souls. Yes, 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 absolutely. Great in Merfolk builds. Great in any sort of like tribal builds. I know particularly Merfolk elves as well run it. Really important in the elf build when I had that because it provides a black source as well for Shaman of the Pack, best card, MVP in that deck. Card was great. So very excited to see this as a reprint, used in many several. Sometimes I forget I'm an English major, or was an English major, so Cavern of Souls really good. Enemy fetch lands, yes, 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 absolutely. This was one of the first this first set to be one of the first cards. The cards, there was just we saw them early on in the stuff of being spoiled, and people are really excited, and I'm really excited because these desperately needed a reprint. I mean, seriously, the cards are just ridiculously overpriced. They needed this. So important that they were in here. So that's that. And then is that it? Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about. But, or for some like notable cards and stuff like that. Personally, what do I think about the set? You know what I think, and I was actually thinking about this, about how, you know, there's like those unboxing videos on YouTube, and it just got really bright outside. Those unboxing videos on YouTube. You know why a lot of people like look at them and they think they're really fun and whatever? What I think is really good about those is if you're thinking about buying a box, and I want to talk about prices of boxes in a minute, what's important about those boxes is to really see the reality of what's the likelihood of what you're going to open. You know, like, I really hope there's not printing issues with this set. There was printing issues with, I feel like both Modern Masters, but I feel like it was more notably, I can't remember which set, and I'm blanking on which one it was. If you guys could help me out and let me know. Which set had major issues with printing, and some people got boxes with like no rares, and like some people got like every foil was a rare mythic, and like things like shouldn't happen. Yeah. Do I think that a box is worth it? Let's talk about the price of these things. Now, I just said, like, you know, Modern Masters 2K17 price of box, and I bounced around to a couple of different sites. Cool Stuff has it for $214. MSRP is $240. Okay, didn't know that. Miniature Market has it for $2.25. What am I on right now? That I'll talk about in a minute. And then, what is this? Troll and Toad has it for $2.25 as well. Channel Fireball, I didn't check it before, I don't know. Channel Fireball has it for $2.50. So, and then TCG, I didn't see a thing for the individual, but I didn't really look that hard. For a case, it is $9.08 and 5 cents. Do I think that this set is worth it? Do I think that the value? Here's the deal, is I think it's very hard to say. Because, see, here's the deal, is you really could get a box with, like, dollar mythics, and you could get, like, I get, like, one Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage is only, like, $35 right now. Is it a really, really awesome, good card? Absolutely. But it's only $35. It's gonna help you, but it's not gonna get you there of the value of your box. What I think is really important, and I am so blanking on who the YouTubers are right now. They're Magic YouTubers, and it's like a card store, and they do a lot of unboxing videos, and I can't think of who it is right now. They're somewhere like in the South, and I can't think of who it is, but they do a lot of unboxings, and I mean, a couple of YouTubers do this. They put like the value of the box, and then they also put like, you know, did they reach that value, basically, like with all the stuff that they opened, did they get their value back? If I pay $908.05 for this case, I would never do, like, not never, but I will not do that in my current state right now financially. But if I were to get something like that, would I get that value back? And not only that, would I, like, gain some value? Because let's be real here, it's, you know, for Wizards, if they print, like, a foil Snapcaster Mage and a foil Intangible Virtue, the price difference in that doesn't cost them anything. It's just, like, do I get the value personally back with that? I don't know. I really don't know how the prices and everything like that, I don't know how it's gonna work in the set, because it totally depends on your box. It depends on how lucky you are. I mean, like, it's all luck, let's be completely honest here. So how does that work? We don't know. I'd have to see it. I'd have to see some unboxings. I'd have to see, you know, a lot of boxes, but, you know, again, let's just hope there's not any, like, printing errors or anything like that and issues in the set. I think this set has a lot more value than people originally gave it credit for, especially for me. I think that people get lost in those high value cards, and then they get all these, like, junky cards that are, like, 2 cents, and you're like, well, this sucks, and it's like, well, like, that's just the reality of it. You're not gonna get a lot of those commons and uncommons, a lot of people say are unplayable. Like, some of those cards, you're just not gonna run. Some of those cards, you're like, why is this even in Modern Masters? No one plays with this card. And yes, that's true, but they're not gonna sit there and really, I think, put a card in there that everyone's gonna use. Or, let's take a card like Intangible Virtue. Some people would completely overlook that card and say no one plays that card, and I would say, Black-White Tokens is a deck. Not a lot of people play the deck, but what's important is that people play that. Lingering Souls. Abzan kind of falling off the radar right now, and Black-White Tokens runs that card. And Esper Tokens too. There's a couple of different token builds that use Lingering Souls. It's a card that's being used by people. It's just not maybe a most popular deck, like Liliana of the Veil. Liliana of the Veil is an expensive card, but it's also used in, like, Jund, which is, like, one of the most popular cards right now. So I think this as a whole is really pushing Jund over the edge, I think, because you've got these two heavy hitters. You've got Tarmogoyf and you've got Liliana of the Veil. And that's, like, those are really big, expensive toys that now, I mean, Jund has already had access to that before. It's not like they're new cards, but it's kind of like, I think for a lot of people, it's going to make them more affordable. I am all for this whole thing, like I said, making these sort of things affordable for more people. And that's part of the reason why I like reprints. I like these sort of things. I want more people to have access to these cards. I think that's what these sets try to do. But again, if you buy a box, you're not going to get a Modern deck. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get every single card that you need. If you're trying to build Jund, you're not going to get 4 Tarmogoyfs. You're not going to get 4 Lilianas. Sorry, to break this to you, this is the reality of the situation. They're gonna print these mythics that maybe aren't crazy expensive. There was also a lot of stuff that happened with the price of these boxes beforehand. And actually, speaking of this, and you want to hear a cool story about how it's $4.48 right now. And I was supposed to meet Justin 3 minutes ago, but he hasn't texted me yet. So I'm really hoping that this video is way more important. Sorry, Justin. Love you. Okay, what was I looking up? Modern Masters Booster Box 2017. Because I just want to see how, on eBay, you know, what's going on. Alright, I got $259. I got $217, $250. Oh, that's a case. Okay, case is 900. I got 300, 220, 229. All these 230 all seems like very average prices to me. I know a lot of stuff I feel like beforehand, before these spoilers came out, I think, from what I saw, a lot of the prices went like were way low for this because there were no cards spoiled. People were like, hey, this set comes out in like 3 weeks. Where are the spoilers? We're not getting anything. We're not getting any teasers. What's going on? And a lot of people thought the set was really bad. A lot of people speculated that. As we can see, the set's actually really juicy. We've got those fetch lands, which is just going to be a huge drive for people because all those fetch lands are just mad expensive. Like, they're great. Arid Mesa's like whatever that, they're just expensive. It's great. They needed this reprint desperately. So I think that was a drive with these rares and mythics are just so good. And it's not just one rare and mythic. It's not just, oh, sweet Tarmogoyf again. It's like Value Town, really. It's just got a lot of value in this. So I'm curious to see how this is going to drive the price market down. And with that one thing that I tell you guys, I swear, I looked at like one eBay seller and they were selling this before spoilers for like $80. Here's the issue with something like that, is if you commit to that and then the set sucks, you're like, damn, I'm out $80. But like, like those people who bought that for like $80, now the prices are like jacking up because people are like, this set has a lot of value in it. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Is this a value thing? I do think if you're planning on getting like a booster box or whatever, I think it's just all about like seeing other people's perspectives and whatever. They're really for fun, in my opinion, or for drafting. I mean, they're really, stuff like this is super fun to draft. So like, yeah, I don't know. We'll just kind of see. We'll see how the market goes, but yeah, this was very interesting. I didn't expect this much value. I think it was definitely a shock, but there was a lot of things that just desperately needed these reprints. So yeah, that is all I got, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.